Roll Tide, everybody, and welcome. It's time for Monday Quarterback here on WNSP. Jake Coker and Mick Gillispie talking Alabama football. Alabama and Auburn played, and the Crimson Tide were a 28-14 winner. It's the fifth straight win Alabama's had over the Auburn Tigers. Before we talk about that, though, I want to remind you guys that our show is brought to you in part by newlifeart.com. Use the promo code Bama Tailgate today. 25% off everything. You better hurry, though, because that promo code will not last long. It ends today, so take advantage of it. It's the biggest sale of the year at New Life Art. Celebrate that Iron Bowl victory. Or Auburn fans, hey, you guys can use it too. Bama Tailgate, 25% off, newlifeart.com. Jake, Roll Tide, man. The game turned out pretty much like I thought it would. I thought Alabama could have won by more, but they covered the spread. I was pretty confident that they were going to go in there and beat up on Auburn. And I thought Auburn's talking during the week, some of their players, it's the perfect motivation after you have, a letdown performance on the road at Oklahoma. And so the fifth straight win. Give them the thumb. What's up?
Yeah, I remember when Tuberville was still at Auburn and they had the Fear the Thumb shirts and all that. It's glad to be able to run that back, except have it on the other side. Early on in that game, I was a little nervous. I felt like we were coming out when we missed the deep ball to Ryan Williams. I felt like we may have started a little bit slow. I was getting a little nervous. One of my father-in-law's buddies always says a booger that believes is a dangerous thing, and I didn't want us to give them any belief at all. And anyway, figured out a way to shut them down pretty kind of early. It was good to see Jalen Milroe outrun that linebacker that was talking so much trash, on that first touchdown run.
I know. That's crazy. The guy said that he wasn't going to outrun him. They probably saw the video at Oklahoma and that lackluster effort that Alabama gave and expected to see that team, but they got an entirely different team, and that's a problem for Alabama that I want to talk about later on, but let's just kind of focus on the positive. Jalen Milroe with another win over Auburn, and there we got the Jalen Milroe that runs like a speeding train.
Yeah, he was running physically on Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon, getting north and south, putting his shoulder down. There was no getting to the sideline, getting out of bounds for the most part. That's the Jalen that we've been accustomed to seeing in big games, and that's just what we got to have in order to win. Hopefully we have some luck here in the next week or so when they, choose the playoff seeding. I would think I think it's us and South Carolina in that three-loss category that is kind of on the outside looking in. But with us beating South Carolina, you'd think if there's a possibility there, we'd be beating a team. Now, again, having said that, can't be really disappointed if we don't make it. 3 losses is pretty tough, and even though I think we're the only team with 4 or 5 top 25 wins. 3 losses is just going to be hard to overcome.
Well, look, I mean, and let's do a whole segment on this. We can go through the top 25 because I think Bama has a chance. They need SMU to beat Clemson, but of the 3 lost teams, if you look at the AP and the coaches poll, they're ahead of everyone else. So who knows how that could play out between now and the selection Sunday, but don't count Alabama out. They're number 11 in the polls right now. They lost 3 road games. The Oklahoma game was bad, but it is Oklahoma. And the brand, I mean, you got to look at the brand, so Alabama's still firmly in it. Let's just kind of focus on the game though in this first segment. How about winning 5 straight? Malachi Moore's been on 5 teams. He got the extra year because of COVID. The guy won 5 Iron Bowls. I don't know. No one's ever gonna, as a player, gonna duplicate that.
I don't know, man. Hey, Kalen DeBoer, I think he's, we've had some ups and downs this year, but I do think he's going to get us ultimately on the right track. Got to figure out how to win those games that don't carry as much weight. And I think, again, there's a learning curve there. I think his, he hasn't experienced the SEC yet. And again, you hear Lane Kiffin talk about it last week, how some teams outside of the SEC would probably have, I think he said they'd be at 500, yet they're in the playoff due to being in the Big Ten or other conferences. But there's definitely a learning curve there. The intensity, you just, as soon as you think you're on top, you got a team right there that may be really 500, but can beat anybody in the country if they play right that day. So, Auburn, they got to make some moves in the offseason, but they're still a long way from Alabama. And I don't know if that trend's going to change here anytime soon.
And more good news for Alabama as far as college football bracketology goes. Andy Staples has Bama as the number 11 seed at Notre Dame. Like, can you imagine Bama playing at Notre Dame? That would be a fun game to go see. I've always wanted to go to South Bend. But anyway, look, let's focus back on I'm all over the place right now. Did you think that the Bama offense, even with all the turnovers, played a good game? Because I thought, despite all the turnovers, I thought that Jalen Milroe's running ability was excellent. I was really surprised that Alabama was able to shut down the Auburn run. I mean, the combination of running back and quarterback, Hunter, obviously the top running back in the league, they didn't even get 100 yards total.
I felt like it was pretty evenly matched. I mean, in terms of just, you take out the turnovers. I mean, I look at it now. I mean, the yardage difference is about 60 yards. They got 24 first downs. We got 25. I thought Jalen did a much better job in the pocket this game. He seemed to kind of move around and move his feet, make throws, get his feet, in order, setting his feet to throw. I just felt like he was cleaner back there. And I think that makes all the difference in the world when he finds a way to make those completions at intermediate yardage. I thought we took steps, but we still there's just something about it. Just not quite, I don't want to use discipline, but we didn't look like, just we're that experienced 12 games in, ready for playoff football just yet.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I think this team, they play really well in big time situations. Maybe the playoff is kind of be like our basketball team last year. Once the lights come on during the playoff or during the tournament, whatever you want to call it, maybe that's when we show up and you really see what this Alabama team is. And again, hopefully we're in it. We'll see.
Came out in the third quarter and just blew them out. I mean, Auburn kind of got back in the game, but they tried their trick plays that they always do. Jihad Campbell, another excellent game for the linebacker. Bama was good up front, man. That defense was really good. Kane Womack and the defense came to play in the Iron Bowl. And I loved it. I mean, even though that there was nothing perfect about a game where you have all those turnovers, it was still a decisive physical win for Alabama.
No, it was. It's exactly what we needed. I would have liked to have seen us beat them 42-0, obviously. But a lot of good signs on both sides of the ball. And with Lawson being out, I figured we'd be struggling a little bit more than what we did. That's a huge loss. You lose your leader, really the guy making the calls and making the adjustments. To lose him was I thought was going to be a really big blow, especially on Saturday against Auburn. Figured Hugh Freeze would have some plays dialed up, some different looks. But we adjusted well. Kane did a great job. again, just gets me really excited about hopefully this playoff look. Just you watch us play, and when we play well, it's like, man, if we could just put this together week in, week out, where we'd be. But controlling our own destiny, really.
I think this was one of the better offensive game plans too. Jam Miller, they just kept feeding him the rock, and that to me has been one of the most frustrating parts of this football season. Is I just felt like Alabama went away from the run. Chad, the guy we call Catfish, he's telling us that he thinks one of the issues is that that Milroe was basically,
he calls him the ball hog.
Yeah, ball hog, right? and it's like, I mean, I don't even know if that's true. I don't know if I agree with him, but it was nice to see Miller just keep touching the football.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, Jalen Milroe is one of the best running backs we have, and I'm not making a joke about that. My feelings on Jalen, but when he's running the ball like he can against Auburn, against LSU, against Georgia, I mean, I love it when he's got the ball in his hands when he's running that way.
Right.
Just being physical. But no, I do agree, man. I like to see Jam Miller have the ball in his hands more often too. You can't become so pull heavy that everybody's basically just gearing up for the quarterback run every time.
Right. 28 carries for Miller in the game, and he ended up with 84 yards. He was physical. He did a great job. Justice Haynes had a touchdown in the game. And then Jalen Milroe, 17 for 104 yards and 3 touchdowns. You can say what you want to say about Milroe, but guys, his ability to run the ball in from the 20s is the difference that Auburn's having, not scoring, and Alabama is able to score. And that was on display again.
Yeah, no, it really helps you in the red zone, especially, I mean, picking up an extra blocker. It just gives you a numbers advantage, and it's an advantage that most people in the country, nobody in the country has a Jalen Milroe outside Alabama, and it just allows you to do so much more, especially in that red zone area.
Guys, we'll take a break. We come back. We're going to talk more about the Iron Bowl. Monday quarterback here on WNSP, wrapping up the regular season. And is Alabama destined to continue on a quest to win their 19th national championship? Or is it going to be the Cheez-It Bowl? We'll talk about that when we come back. More Monday.
It'll be better than what Auburn's gotten used to, and just traveling a couple hours to Birmingham.
If they even qualify for that.
No, they'll be staying home this year.
So you're saying the Cheez-It Bowl is a big upgrade?
I mean, the gifts at the Cheez-It Bowl are a lot better than what Auburn's been getting in Birmingham. I can promise you
that. We'll talk more Monday quarterback, WNSP, right after this. Welcome back to Monday quarterback. Jake Coker, Mick Gillispie, right here on WNSP. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys, as we talk Alabama and Auburn, the Iron Bowl. We talk about Alabama. We do this every Monday. And Bama won 5 straight, man. I mean, think about 5 straight Iron Bowls. Auburn not bowl eligible again. It's been since Gus Malzahn, who, by the way, just took the offensive coordinator job at Florida State. Think about that, man. When you would rather leave a head coaching job for a coordinator job. He's the last guy to beat Alabama.
Malzahn, that's one of those moves where he may be thinking he could be the head coach there after a couple of years. Florida State's in bad shape, and I go from 12-0 regular season to 2-10. It's just really no hope throughout the year. You felt like, I just, I love Florida State. Hate to see what's going on right now. I'm on a group text with a bunch of my old Florida State teammates, and it's pretty down and out. You just to come back from a 2-10 year, it's just hard to get that momentum back and have that excitement during the off season. I feel like I wasn't on a 2-10 team in college, but that's going to be a real struggle.
Well, for Bama, winning, they're 9-3. There's like I said, they're still alive for an opportunity to play in the college football playoff. And when the polls came out, Bama got some good news, and we'll find out what the college football playoff rankings are. But them being ranked as the highest 3-loss team, and part of that is the schedule that they've played. The AP had them ranked as number 11 in South Carolina up to number 13. The coaches had Bama 11 and South Carolina 12. And it comes down to one thing. I mean, South Carolina has some good wins. Bama has some good wins. But when they played head-to-head, Alabama won. So with Miami losing to Syracuse, that drops them all 6 spots in one, 7 spots in another, down the polls. And a lot of times, I mean, I'm telling you, these polls reflect the college football playoff field pretty much every week so far.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now, just the rankings in terms of SEC. I mean, you got Texas, Georgia, Tennessee in there. I mean, look, if you're – I hate to be that guy, but, I mean, if you're looking for good matchups, Alabama at Notre Dame is pretty hard to beat. I mean, that's a game I would imagine that most people – throughout the country would be locked into, ready to watch. I'd love to see us go in there and blow out Notre Dame. But they have Clemson 12 right now. I don't know how Clemson stays in front of us. 3 losses and then losing to South Carolina as well.
Yeah, but I mean, they lost to Ole Miss, and I think they lost to somebody else good, and so they beat Texas A&M. That doesn't look like such a great win anymore, although Texas A&M wasn't bad.
You're talking about South Carolina.
Yeah. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, South Carolina. There's no. I mean, you can't put them in front of us before. I mean, we beat them head to head.
Yeah, right.
I'm talking about Clemson. Looks like we're fighting.
Yeah, that's it. That's what it comes down to. We need Clemson to lose to SMU. If Clemson wins, they're going to get a spot. And then the question is going to be, is a 2-loss SMU team going to get in over an Alabama?
Yeah.
The thing for Alabama is they went on the road and they played Wisconsin. They played Georgia. They beat them. They've beat some ranked teams, including South Carolina. All of a sudden, now that's a good win. Missouri was a good win. They went undefeated at home. The 2 losses, looking back at Bama's schedule, you just shake your head about that Oklahoma game. Not being ready for that is still disappointing. And then the other one is, looking at the Vandy game, but they kind of got blindsided by that one. So interesting enough,
Okay, I'm sorry, but Clemson beats SMU, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm looking through their SMU schedule, and they played one ranked team and BYU and lost to them. I don't know if they've beaten any other. They haven't played another ranked team outside of that.
So you're saying that you don't give credence to wins over Nevada by 5 points? Houston,
no,
you don't. You're looking at that Houston Christian win, 49.
Hell no, I don't give credence to. I mean, they may as well have 6 wins in my book.
TCU, Florida State, they beat Louisville, Stanford, Duke. They beat Pitt, Boston College, Virginia, and Cal.
It's like, I mean, they're playing 5A Alabama high school football.
Oh, it doesn't stack up, does it?
I mean, what are we even talking about here?
Well, that's how this playoff works. If they beat Clemson, it's an easy choice. Now, if they don't, I guess it depends on how that one turns out and how they respect that really bad ACC conference. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk more college football. I got a preview of the playoff rankings and more. This is Monday Quarterback on WNSP. Jay Coker and Mick Gillispie. Great to have you guys with us here. And roll tide. We'll be right back. Back on WNSP, Monday Quarterback with the quarterback himself, Jake Coker, champion of the 2015. What was that? Was that the college football playoff back then?
It was.
It was
the second edition.
Second edition. So you got to hold the new trophy, and I guess is the trophy any different now? I'm Mick Gillispie, by the way, guys.
No, I mean different than the crystal ball.
No, the like the stick one. That.
No, I think it's just gold. Yeah, I think so.
I think they ought to change start over here. When they started this college football playoff, was not a big fan of it. I thought, well, you know what, you're getting the right teams. The regular season's the playoff. I was fine with the way it was. I like the BCS. I like the 4 teams. And I'm like, you know what, there's just too many bad teams you're going to put in. But then having gone through it, not having Nick Saban at Alabama, I'm like, you know what, I kind of like this. But I think that they ought to expand it some because, to be honest with you, there's so many teams. And it'd be a fun tournament, Alabama should be in, South Carolina should be in. It'd be fun to see. I don't know how many you go deep, but it would be pretty fun to have like just more college football. So I'm for expansion. You already got it to 12. You might as well go up to, 32.
Well, the problem,
a lot of football.
Back when there was, before the transfer portal, and NIL, teams could. You had Coach Saban and Dabo Swinney and a couple other programs. Ohio State, you could dominate the talent pool. 1 and 2 deep, and as you can tell this year, that's not happening. You got a lot of studs on these teams, but you don't have the depth that they used to have, and it's just not that obvious who the best 2 or 3 teams are each year. And so, I think the 12-team playoff's a good move. But the only problem is the strength of schedule across the board is nowhere near the same. I'm, looking through Oregon's schedule. They beat it. Let's see.
They beat Ohio State. That was a good win.
Yeah, beat Boise State. Illinois. Still not. It's just, again, these other conferences, you playing consistently really good teams or really talented teams. And that's, you watch Alabama this year, that's the struggle, is playing all these teams that can hang in there. And look, you're never going to hear me say losing to Vandy is okay. I don't care who they have. We got to beat them, but they are a better team than your lower level teams in the Big Ten, right. And that's just, it is what it is.
Well, that's what makes the SEC so tough. Is that there's just so many good. Like anybody can beat you. We've seen it.
Yeah, and you look at SEC atmospheres too. It is you go to these. I remember, when I was at Florida State, we'd go play Maryland or Virginia Tech was pretty loud. But you go play these ACC schools that, Duke, stadiums that just aren't filled out and the passion isn't there like the Southeastern Conference. And you go into Arkansas, play at Arkansas, that place is packed and it's loud. Mississippi State, same way, loud, rowdy. There's just a lot of energy and playing away in the SEC with not only the talent but also the atmosphere. It makes it far tougher to me than any other conference out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's it.
I think that's pretty obvious,
I mean, you look at the upsets that we've had, where Vanderbilt beats Alabama and, and then start going down the line, Arkansas beat Tennessee. I mean, the Kentucky beat Ole Miss. It happens. These are good teams. Florida beat Ole Miss. You just never know week to week. And I think that's what makes it fun. But at the same time, when you're doing these college football selections, and you can't just look at records anymore because you got to look at who people have played.
Yeah. I'm just looking at SMU, man. It's just tough to. I don't know how you could be. I mean, it's kind of like us. We have 3 losses. So, I mean, I get it if we get left out. But then at the same time, you look at SMU's schedule, you haven't beaten a ranked team. Only ranked team you played, you've lost. I don't know how you can be mad about that either. I mean, that's nobody else's fault but your own with your out-of-conference scheduling. You want to be recognized. You got to play the best.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about it. Now, if it was any other school besides Alabama, and they were 9-3 with losses at Tennessee, at Vanderbilt, and at Oklahoma, do you think that they would get more respect or less respect? You know what I mean? Like, do you think the brand helps or hurts Alabama when it comes to their ranking? Because I feel like in the past it hurt them. But I feel like now with a playoff, I think they would almost probably rather have them in there because of TV ratings.
I mean, it would make sense. I mean, that's what everybody says. That it's a business, and that's why Alabama gets in. I mean, to me, it's more so it's a proven product. You never can count Alabama out. I mean, you look at the Georgia game earlier in the year. You got a brand new coach. This is, the dynasty, the new dynasty. Bama 2.0 is rolling in there to steamroll us, and we come out and beat them. If Jalen shows up and plays the way we know he's capable of playing, there's nobody in the country that can beat us, in a commanding fashion. So. And I think that's reflective in the coaches poll. I mean, they know. You can never count Alabama out. And if we get to go play Notre Dame at Notre Dame, I mean, I feel pretty good about a bet against, putting my money on Alabama in that game. Money line, I don't care what the line is. Just throwing it on the money line. I would think we'd be favored as well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I would love to go to that may be one I'd have to go to, man. South Bend, Indiana, Notre Dame, Alabama. I mean, that's like a classic matchup. Isn't that why they put this college football playoff together?
Yeah. We played Notre Dame in the Citrus Bowl. My true freshman, no, it was the Citrus Bowl, but Champ Sports Bowl in Orlando. My true freshman year at Florida State. First time that bowl had ever been sold out, and it was pretty cool seeing those. They playing shipping up to Boston before the game. All the gold helmets, bouncing around. It was loud in there. As much as I hate Notre Dame, it is pretty cool playing them.
Yeah, right. It is. It's funny. So we'll find out. I mean, that's the potential matchup. So you feel like the ACC, whoever loses is out. Because if it's SMU, you're not going to put a 2-loss SMU team in with no good wins. And then you're saying, like, if Clemson loses, they're out.
Yeah,
that puts Alabama in, and that puts Alabama in.
Yeah, and I wouldn't say I wouldn't penalize a team that lost in a conference championship, but I don't think that's why even Clemson at 9-3 to me gets put out, in favor of Alabama. I mean, the resumes, Clemson they got blown out by Georgia. They get beat by South Carolina. And then who was their third loss? Do you remember?
Who's that?
Clemson.
Oh, Clemson.
They got blown out by Georgia. They get beat by South Carolina. I mean, they played 2 SEC teams and they lost to both of them.
Yeah, I was looking at the and I'll pull it back up here. I'm looking at the college football playoff predictor, and it's got Alabama at a 30% chance. But I think when all the stuff kind of plays out, Clemson's at a 42% chance. But if they lose, it's got SMU at a 69% chance. So they're saying it all comes down to me to whether the committee would want to have 2 of those ACC teams in there. And I'll check the Clemson schedule.
They lost to Louisville.
Louisville, yeah. So
that's the third team.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. That's not even that to me is not even comparable to what we're doing in the SEC.
I mean, the only team that I could say, is on par with an ACC schedule in the SEC is Texas. I mean, they and I hate to say that, but you look at their schedule, and they did play Michigan and blew them out. Who beat Ohio State this weekend?
That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a pretty good matchup for them. You can't foresee what your Michigan schedule is going to be at the time they scheduled this, but that's a respectable move. But their SEC schedule has just been pretty atrocious.
Yeah, right. Hey guys, well, let me get the break and we'll finish this conversation and the show up after this. But guys, I want to remind you that right now, newlifeart.com, that's Daniel Moore. Use the promo code Bama Tailgate. It's 25% off site-wide. But today's the last day, so take advantage of it. Need to get someone a gift. You go on there and say, hey, I heard this guy on the radio, and he is the centerpiece of a print called Sweet 16. And look, we even gave one away the last tailgate show. All of those are part of this. So newlifeart.com, Daniel Moore. When we come back, we're going to wrap up the show. More Monday Quarterback on WNSP after this. Final segment of Monday Quarterback here on WNSP. Mick Gillispie, Jake Coker. Glad to have you guys with us. Show's always presented by our friends over at Sticks Tractor and Tree. You got hurricanes that come to this area. And for me, I live pretty close to the bay. These water oaks, you never know what's inside. And some of them are pretty big. I had a yard full of them between 70 and 90 feet, and I needed them gone. Just wanted them out just in case, hey, one of these named storms ended up at my house. So we did that. There was one that was in my deck that always made me worry. And when they took it down, it was hollow, and it would have fallen right on my house. So I know some of you guys are going through the same thing. When you go out and you're looking for honest people to give you a great price, one price I got 13 trees taken out, pretty big ones. You want somebody that you can count on, contracted, insured, and all that stuff. And that's Hunter and his guys over at Sticks Tractor and Tree in Robertsdale, Alabama. Find out for yourself: land clearing, excavating, mulching, tractor work, demolition, site prep. They came to my house. They were professional. They got the job done. And And it didn't cost me as much as I thought. And it was something that I really needed done. So you find out for yourself, if you're in that market and you know that you're going to spend some money doing it, you might as well go ahead and get some quotes. I did that, and I landed on Sticks Tractor and Tree. 251-367-1081 is their number. And again, Hunter and those guys, I give them 2 thumbs up. They did a great job for us. All right, Jake Coker, Mick Gillispie, finishing up Monday quarterback. Bama waiting to see if they possibly could get into the college football playoff. And it's really, to me, it's do or die, because the other alternative is most likely Bama playing in the Cheez-It Bowl, which is the old Citrus Bowl in Orlando. What a terrible name for a bowl game. Do you like Cheez-Its?
I like the hot and spicy ones. That's the first bowl game I've ever been in, or I say been in, been a part of. That's the one. I mean, it was Champs Sports Bowl back then. But
what's a fun one? Orlando's cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's back then. I feel like the smaller bowl games were played right around. I mean, they're all kind of played right around Christmas. But we showed up Christmas Eve for that one, and then it's kind of cold down in Orlando, surprisingly. But again, first time that bowl game had ever been sold out. Florida State and Notre Dame.
Well, that's what Alabama's looking at if they don't slide into the college football playoff. Tuesday, they'll be doing the rankings. That'll give us another picture of what things look like. How many slots Alabama? They're still the first team out. Do they have Alabama in? Would that surprise some people? And we'll be talking about that on Bama Tailgate, our YouTube channel, live. We'll be doing a show live as those college football playoff rankings come out. So make sure that you swing over there and hang out with us. And don't forget Bama Tailgate, newlifeart.com. That's the promo code, 25% off everything right now, newlifeart.com. But that sale ends today, so you guys better jump on it, because it is the best sale of the year. It's the Iron Bowl celebration sale, and so it ends today. What do you think? I mean, your gut feeling on this? Bama getting in or not?
I'm holding out hope. I mean, mainly because I see that just SMU and Clemson. I mean, I think when it comes down to it, it's hard to leave Alabama out if you're comparing them to Clemson or SMU. SMU loses Saturday. They don't have a single ranked win, and they're 11-2. And again, hate to penalize a team for losing in their conference championship, but at the same time, man, you don't have a single ranked win, and you're in the playoff. And I know we're supposed to respect the regular season, and winning games means a lot. I know I heard Jimbo talking about it the other day, saying a one-loss team should make it, but man, it just drives me crazy seeing teams get in the playoff that just don't have a resume.
Well, yeah, but we'll see, man. I mean, like, we don't know yet, right? Are they going to appreciate the fact that Bama went to Wisconsin, played them? They played UCF. Like, that's a much better game than some of these other teams have on their schedule. And then the SEC gauntlet on top of that.
Kind of to your point earlier. I mean, do you want to see an SMU team make it in there? And it's basically like TCU from a few years ago. Now I know they beat Michigan. I think TCU had 2 pick sixes that game. And everything kind of went their way, but then they got boat raced by Georgia. I mean, is that kind of the same scenario we're looking at? You want to see SMU go into Notre Dame, go into South Bend and get boat raced, or you want to see Alabama put up a fight and potentially go to that next round?
Right. Well, look, we know Bama could get hot and go on a run. You know, this SMU's got no chance to win a national championship. I mean, they'd be in because we were saying, well, you know what, they had a good season. You know, but do you want the best teams in, or do you want the most deserving teams in? And that's kind of where we were last year, and that's kind of where we are this year. So final thoughts, man, as we wrap up this show on a Monday here on WNSP. By the way, I want to say this. Congratulations on that giant buck you shot the other day.
that was actually I don't even know. He's my brother-in-law's brother-in-law. So I tell you what, man, I got a future in coaching, because when I went to go pick him up at 5:30 in the morning, he was wearing Peter Millar pants and white tennis shoes, and I had him crawling through some black belt dirt. It was bad. But hey, man, I got him to buy in, and he got it done.
That's right. Well, roll tide, everybody. Thanks for hanging out with us again on Monday Quarterback, and we'll talk to you soon. Alabama hoping that they are in the college football playoff, and we'll know that next Monday when we return. Talk to you then. Roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.